Welcome to the Fantasy Football Hub YouTube channel. Today I'm joined by Fergi, who's had an absolute flyer in game week 1. Over 80 points inside the top 100k, Fergi. You were on before the season started and you mentioned you were going for a very aggressive strategy, starting with a bench boost in game week 1. That is exactly what you did, and it's led to this, an unbelievable start.
I'm absolutely bouncing, mate. I haven't had a good start in FPL for a long time. And when I was chatting with Rich on the Green Arrow FPL podcast at the end of last season, I think one of the main things I said was next season I'm going to go back to playing my way instead of being scared of the template, FOMO of this player, that player, scared of Salah. And I just thought there was enough doubt when watching the Community Shield to go against Salah. Not as in he's not, a wonderful player, and he's going to return, he's going to get lots of returns, but I think the points will be spread. The points are spread, and because of that, it allowed me to have a really strong bench boost with Sanchez as 7, 8 Norrie 9, Reinders 10, and De Cooper only had 2. He lost his clean sheet in the last minute. So that coupled with a bit of fortune, with picking Kudus and Reinders, who could have easily been other players, right? Obviously, a little bit of fortune there has enabled me to go after an absolute flyer. So I'm super, super excited.
Yeah, I suppose there's a little bit of fortune there, but to be honest, it could have gone even better for you this week with Salah scoring in the last minute. If that didn't happen, then
14-point swing there, mate. And I captained Wirtz, so I've captained my lowest scoring player
yeah,
as well. It could have been better, but you take the highs with the lows. And
absolutely.
overall, I'm just pleased that, there's a very, a viable alternative strategy that people can see. And I said it last week on our stream, I said it on our video last week. I think the game has changed. And I think that now, with the addition of these chips early doors in this season, I think holding on and trying to play a bench boost later on, trying to choose a week like game week 8 or game week 13, I think for the first half of the season, because it's a single game week, I think that is not a good option. And I think it was an opportunity to get out of the blocks. I'm fortunate to get out of the blocks, but even if I hadn't, playing the bench boost, getting out of the way means I can now solely focus on my team, not having to worry about creating a bench boost team for game week 8, wherever it is. All my transfers will all be forward facing, all pumped into my first 11. And yeah, just excited for it.
What I like as well is that you mentioned when we discussed this before the season started, you mentioned that it's not like the way I sort of interpreted what you were saying was you didn't think it was a huge risk necessarily to go against Salah, and you said actually even if like Salah does do well or better than my captain, then I still think it's a decent strategy. You weren't saying I need Salah to blank for this to work. Like you weren't saying he's never going to score again. It was I think this strategy could do well even if Salah does really well.
I think this is it. I thought that the downside was negligible. So even if Salah had have popped off, he would have probably got the assists off the players I owned, either Wirtz, Gakpo, or Ekitike. So I think the downside would have been negligible, whereas the potential upside was obviously huge. It could have been bigger if I hadn't captained Wirtz. My son, who I told this strategy to, he's 14. He went and captained Ekitike. He's higher than me, I think now, or close to being. He's absolutely flying. But the potential upside was huge. I think in fantasy football, having played for such a long time across all different games, I'm always looking to put myself in a position where I can de-risk as much as possible, but then seek the highest potential upside. And I just saw this week an opportunity for that. It's easy to sit here and crow and say, oh, look, I was right. It's not about that at all. But I did notice this. Salah scored. So it's funny because I was on the radio last week speaking to a presenter and he was going, I see you going, no Salah, no Haaland, you're mad. And on the face of it now, he's probably looking back and thinking, that bald swine from Fantasy Football Hub. He told me no Salah, no Haaland.
Yeah.
Salah's got a goal. Haaland's got 2.
Yeah.
But actually, still, it doesn't matter because of the bigger picture with it all.
You're miles ahead.
And what I'm most excited about with this team now, which I'm sure we'll talk about now, is that I can pivot now to either put out a really strong team in game week 2. I was planning on playing my free hit in game week 2. I'm even potentially tempted to wildcard in game week 2.
Wow.
Which I can touch on the reasons for that if you want, either now or later. But I'm in a spot where I've got options and they're exciting, all forward-thinking, aggressive options rather than now having to just make a template move like everyone else is going to make.
Well, speaking of your plans, Fergie, I have your team on screen right now, and you've got, to be fair, your game week rating is a little bit low. It's
Yeah.
only 84% for this week. Now, before you've mentioned this, before the season started, you, well, the strategy was going to be, it wasn't set in stone, but you were thinking of free hitting this week because,
Yeah.
there are a lot of away fixtures here, especially you mentioned, and the Tottenham boys have obviously a very tough fixture. So, yeah, you've gone away from that strategy a little bit, you're saying?
I think only a little bit, only in terms of that. I think still a lot of upside. So I made a transfer last night, which I should disclose.
Whoa, really?
I know, yeah, made it already. Again, on the aggressive train. I did tweet
Wow.
it out because I didn't want anyone to think I was doing something in the hand. But I noticed. So there were three price rises last night. I've got Ekatike and I've got Reinders, which I'm really happy about their rises, obviously. But I think whether I was on a free hit or a wild card in game week two, I think I know I would want Semenyo, and he was due to rise last night as well. I looked on Fantasy Football Hub price change. I can see that Semenyo was due to rise. Now, at this time of the season, that zero point 0.1 is the equivalent to a zero point 0.5
Yeah.
because obviously there's hardly any rises or fallers. So I thought it quite imperative if I was going to build a free hit or a wildcard team, I didn't want to be 0, 0.1 short basically on Semenyo. So I was aggressive and I made the transfer. So I've taken out Wirtz, which I'm not
Wow.
massively happy with. I didn't want to take out Wirtz, but I look at Liverpool's next two fixtures. I wanted to see how the weekend played out, right? Because I wanted to see how good Villa looked, how good Newcastle looked, how good Liverpool looked, etc., etc. And I think I was pleasantly surprised as a non-Salah owner to see that Newcastle actually looked reasonably stable. Like Villa have been on fire in pre-season, especially Watkins, and I thought Villa were gonna turn over Newcastle, if I'm honest.
Yeah.
But they didn't even have one shot, never mind a shot on target in the first half. So that says to me that Newcastle are setting out their stall to play, sort of just be hard to beat, rock solid, which doesn't lend itself to Liverpool assets next week. And that's why I'm not particularly concerned about Salah. Easy to say this again. He may go and bang, right? I'm just speaking as I kind of see it, right? So now I have got Gakpo and I have got Ekiteke. And I thought both of those players, particularly Ekitike, looked incredibly dangerous in both the Community Shield and last week as well. So I think of those three, I thought Wirtz looked slightly withdrawn
Yeah.
against Bournemouth. Not that that's, not to say he's not going to return in future, right? But I think having Gakpo and Ekitike is quite a nice cover for the other two because I do think that the points are going to be spread. I wanted Semenyo against Wolves regardless of what I did next week, especially free hit and wild card. So I made the move. So that's how my team sort of looks at the moment, which I think is reasonably decent for game week two. I also noticed even though Chelsea drew with Palace, I think Palace are an excellent team. West Ham didn't look great, so Palmer and João Pedro wouldn't give them a chance. Brentford looked awful at the back, so Watkins actually looks decent as well. I thought Man City were incredible. Reinders was fantastic. So
Yeah.
obviously he's in. I've got Nori who looked great as well. So looking at the team I'd be free hitting into, which we can look to build out a free hit team. I am wondering whether actually I can add real more in terms of upside. And also Kudus and Porro, even though they're playing Man City, the way they both played against PSG, so I think they're going to set up in a similar style, five
Yeah.
at the back for Spurs. I think both of them, Porro as a right wing back and Kudus basically as a forward, could really do damage against Man City as well. So with all those things in mind, this is why I'm coming back to potentially not free hitting in game week two, playing it out because I think I've got a strong team. I think I'm ahead of the curve in terms of transfers and taking it from there really.
Wow. I didn't realize you'd already made a transfer. That is really aggressive. What do you think about people like me that have Wirtz and that are thinking like you? He did look a little bit withdrawn. I mean, I think he played pretty well. I think he just, as an FPL option, we have these players that are really good
Of
players and
course.
they're not always good FPL options.
I think he's fine, and I'm sure he'll do well. And like I say, even though I'm going without Salah and Wirtz for the next 2 weeks, they may return. They may get a goal each. They may return. But what I'm kind of banking on is the sort of rest of my team and captaincy choice kind of helping out with that. I think that the way Newcastle played. And again, I don't think Salah was that great against Bournemouth compared to what he has been over the years. I wonder if we'll see a bit of a split in terms of captaincy. Palmer might get some because West Ham was so bad. Watkins against Brentford looks good. Bournemouth players at home to Wolves look good as well. So I don't, Haaland, home to Spurs historically has been, a really good fixture for Haaland. So I think we'll see a split on captaincy, which suits me. What I don't want to do, like obviously on Friday, I was against the masses in Salah, and that's why I went for the threefold
Yeah.
of Wirtz, Gakpo, and Ekitike. That's why I did it to kind of counter that. But I do think there'll be a spread next week, and again, that's the reason why I think the downside is negligible in this approach if I take it. Because even if Salah goes off again, I'll still have a couple of players. Whereas the potential upside, I think, is big, and I can then free hit presenting game week 3 or not, or wildcard game week
Wow.
3 or not. But I think what I'm so excited about this season now is because I'm on the front foot. I've just got options. Whereas there's the template. If you haven't got Reinders, if you haven't got certain other players, it's hard now because there's these really obvious moves, but you want to wait for the week to see what happens, but they're going up in price. So I'm just sticking with my uber aggressive, play my own way strategy. And so far, I've been lucky. I'm not under any illusion, right? I know I was joking last week, I could win FPL, but I'm just enjoying it. I'm just enjoying playing this way, and it's really refreshing for me. And hopefully, there's lots of good feedback on socials and stuff about a different way of playing, and so far it's going well. So long may it continue, hopefully.
Yeah. Well, you're absolutely battering me. I realized I had my myself with a red arrow there at 3.7 million. I've changed it to a green. Not quite sure how I feel
I
about
think
that
so.
because I mean, is it a green? I feel like having you on a green when you're at 92k is pretty all right. What is a good game week? Game week 1. I'm not entirely sure. Like I thought 53 is all right, or 54 whatever I'm on.
I
Yeah,
think
it's
I think that's
okay.
fine. I think as long as you're above the average, wherever the average is,
Well, I don't know if I am.
I'm not sure what it is.
Probably I'm pretty bang on the average, but I mean I'm nowhere near you. That is for sure. I
Yeah,
think
but
that.
it's a one-off game week, mate. It's the
Well,
so
I don't know. Team's
the
looking good.
average is 51. There you go.
Okay.
So if you're on 53, I think you're well entitled to give yourself a green arrow.
Well, there's still another game to go as well. I've got to remember this.
Exactly that. And I'm out now, obviously. Are you out as well, or
I'm out,
or
fully out.
whatever
Yeah,
you're?
yeah.
Yeah.
Insane start. I just want to mention. You were talking about price changes.
Yeah.
If people don't know, then in my opinion, Fantasy Football Hub is the best place to see what's going to happen in terms of price changes. So last night, those 3 players you mentioned, Reinders, Ekitike, and Semenyo, were all predicted to rise. You won't see that anywhere on the official FPL website. They just don't really disclose that information. I'm not really sure why, but they are pretty opaque with it. And then on the site, you can see right here, this is what we expect to happen. So right now, at the time of recording, Wood is expected to rise in price tonight. Looks quite likely, actually. You see his progress bar almost at 100%. If you want to stay up to date with who's going up in price, who's going down in price as well, let's have a look at the players that are falling the quickest. Solanke, Marmoush didn't play. Yeah, Damsgaard as well. Then sign up to Fantasy Football Hub. Actually, is it free? I don't
It's
know.
free, mate.
Is it
It's
free?
free.
Wow. Don't even need to be a member, paid member. Just
No,
make an
it's
account or just
completely
look at
free
it.
to do this.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Look down in the description, guys. Get on board with it. Now, normally, Fergie, I would do your recommended transfers for next week, but you've already made your transfer.
How I think my recommended one was, and again, it's a sensible one. I think I want to say is João Pedro to Mateta. You can click on it if you wanted
I'll do it
to.
anyway. Should we do it just to see?
Yeah,
Okay.
it may not be right because you've already made the transfer on screen, but we'll take a
Oh,
look
well, there we
anyway.
go.
Yeah, it's still the same one, like João Pedro to Mateta, which I think is very sensible. Palace's fixtures from next week look really really strong, and it
Mm.
would definitely be a transfer I would normally look at. João Pedro played 70 odd minutes as expected, but it was against a really tough Palace defense. Palace, as I say, they go on a really good run now, so I think that's a very sensible transfer. But like I say, I'm laid in my bed and I'm going with it, and I'm in for Semenyo only because he was rising, and I knew I'd want him this week because he's
He
just
looks
so
amazing.
good.
Yeah.
Oh well, he scored 2 in the final day of last season, so he's on
Yes.
like a
Good point.
200% goal strike rate at the
He's on for
moment.
76. Could be huge for him. What a season.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So, and this, and like I say, this is the kind of forward-thinking move I really like to make because if he goes off again, he'll be the transfer that everyone's
Oh,
making next week, and
yeah.
this is the thing. So, yeah, it's really nice spot to be in.
Yeah, well, you've put yourself in a very good position. Guys, if you would like to see your own recommended transfers by AI, maybe like me, you've not done a transfer, you're not necessarily thinking of doing a transfer this week. I will say, like, this transfer, Joao Pedro to Mateta, that was recommended to me before the season started. I knew it would still be recommended. Joao Pedro compared to Mateta, Mateta is a better FPL pick, sort of looking at it in like, if you were to factor in 10 different things that make a good FPL pick, Mateta probably wins on 8 or maybe even 9 of them compared to Joao Pedro, I would say. But
especially 90 minutes and penalties are
yeah,
massive, and Joao Pedro hasn't got either of those. They're like two huge ones, aren't they?
exactly. Those are the key things. But yeah, I'm going to hold Joao Pedro. But yeah, if you guys want to know what to do with your teams, link is down below. Let me know in the comments, what is your recommended transfer? Very interested to see. And also, how did you do in Game Week 1? If anyone's watching right now that has a better rank than Fergi, give me a DM on Twitter, get on the channel. But no, I don't think there's going to be many people out there, Fergie, that are doing as well as you. So fair play to you. Thank you for hopping on and explaining your thoughts. And yeah, good luck next game week. Let's see if it continues. I'd love to have you back on with an even more crazy rank. That would be insane. What do you reckon? What do you reckon right now? Do you reckon you're getting another green? It's pretty hard.
I'm not sure. I think as it stands at the moment, I think I'm gonna play out game week 2 with my team, but I
Okay.
think I've got a good team. If you look at the template team for this week, I don't think it's that strong.
No.
Personally, I don't. So I like my team. It depends how aggressive I go on either free hit. And just to touch on wildcard game week 2, just for those who haven't seen, with the changes this week, if you wildcard this week in game week 2, and I'm not advising it, I'm just suggesting that there is the option there, right? If you look at a team like Bournemouth, if you wildcard this week in game week 2, you will have a run for Bournemouth. If you free hit in game week 3, this is. You'll have a run for Bournemouth of home to Wolves, home to Brighton, home to Newcastle, away to Leeds, home to Fulham. You'll have 4 home games in 5 because you can use your free hit in game week 3. That was part of the reason why I was
Jeez.
looking at the wild card. I mean, you think of any other opportunity in the season, double game weeks aside, but we'll have a fresh lot of chips for those
Yeah.
doubles, right? If you just look at the potential opportunity you've got with some of these teams that will play 4 home times in 5 games, particularly Bournemouth, because that's an incredible run of fixtures as well. You can free hit in game week 3. United at home to Burnley, right? I'm tempted to free hit in 3 and bring in Cunha and Buemo and Mbeumo after watching them yesterday. So it's just another strategy that would never have previously been viable,
No.
because you use the chips in the second half of the season. It's just worth looking at it, and like I say, I think the game has changed, and I think there's opportunity there.
Wow, really interesting. I feel like I'm sort of wedded to my strategy right now, but you are definitely making me
Get it?
think. It's just like not how I've played the game over the last 4 or 5 years. But then
Of
that's
course.
exactly your point. Like, the game has changed. Like, we do have a lot of new things to play with this year, double the chips, new rules, etc.
And even AFCON, right? So AFCON was I think it was the deciding factor on me playing an earlier wild card, because worst case you might get an absolute hash of your team, right? And normally you're not going to use your second wild card until like game week 30 for the doubles, right?
Mm,
We get 5 free transfers in game week 16.
yeah.
So even if you do have a bit of a stinker, there's always a ghetto card there as well. So I just feel it's all lined up to play aggressively, chase points. Don't just settle for, you know, sort of mediocre. I might play this in the future. I just don't see, because as well, how much nicer is it, Jack, playing when you're in front than when you're
Oh
chasing?
yeah,
Just
yeah.
a different world, a different day-to-day life we lead. So
Well, you said this before the season started, and now you are in that exact position. So we'll see what happens.
this is it, mate. I'm very fortunate, I must say. I may sound gloaty. I'm not. I'm
You're
I'm
definitely not sounding
excited.
close.
I'm
Don't worry.
excited at what I am.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
just
yeah,
so buzzing to have a good start, and
yeah.
it's so excited for next week as well.
Well, if you guys want to see what Fergie does end up doing, because obviously the deadline's on Friday this week, don't forget that, then his final team reveal and his strategy will be on Fantasy Football Hub as well. Once again, if you want to keep up to date with price changes, see your recommended transfers, the link to that is the top line in the description. It's also in the pinned comment. Fergie, thank you very much, mate, as always. Hopefully see you next
Thanks,
week,
Jack.
unless it goes disastrously wrong. But if it does, then maybe we come back anyway, just to
We'll
just to enjoy that. I
We'll
don't
see
know.
how it goes.
We'll see how
Just
it goes.
just to add finally as well, on this channel on Thursday, 4:30,
Oh yes.
we'll be streaming live the Green Arrow FPL podcast. Myself and Rich Clark. So Rich is one of the best FPL managers of all time. We've taken completely different strategies, so it's going to be really, really good fun. So 4:30 live on this channel on Thursday. We're going to be ripping it out of each other, no doubt, as usual.
Absolutely. Okay, mate. Thank you very much. Catch you on Thursday.
Cheers, Jack.